It is officially NFL schedule release week, but we had some big breaking news over the weekend with Derek Carr retiring from the NFL. So many ripple effects. We'll talk about all of it here today. NFL Spotlight starts now. Welcome in. It is the Monday, May 12th edition of the NFL Spotlight Show. I am your host, Ari Meirov. A big week here in the NFL with the schedule release coming up on Wednesday. The full schedule will be coming out then, but we're going to have some games coming out here today, tomorrow. The NFL likes putting out there in breadcrumbs some games over here. So follow along on my X page at my sports update for all of that. And make sure you are subscribed here on YouTube for all of our NFL coverage on NFL Spotlight. We had some big breaking news that happened here on Saturday. We're going to talk about all of it here today. Let me bring in my good friend Ben Allen. Ben, what is going on? It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, Ari. Let's get right into it because this was not a news story that I expected. I think a lot of people were wondering what's going on with Derek Carr down there in New Orleans. Well, it turns out he's going to be retiring. That's what it means. It means that all of this hubbub of is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? How are they reworking his salary? Is the shoulder injury real? This, that, the other. Derek says it's time to hang it up. Derek Carr is retiring from the NFL, four-time Pro Bowl selection, 257 career pass touchdowns. Obviously, a very big career with the Las Vegas Raiders, formerly of Oakland. He set a lot of records there, did a lot of big things, didn't lead to a lot of wins. He finished pretty close to being an MVP one year, and then otherwise not the most remarkable when it came to some of the other accolades, but somebody that really went out there and won some games and was interesting for a while. So let's go ahead and just start with Derek's career. What do you make of, one, the decision to go ahead and retire now? And two, what do you think of his career as a whole?
So let's just start with the career. I mean, obviously, former second round pick out of Fresno State. His draft was 2014. I remember that draft like it was yesterday. I remember the Texans needed a quarterback in that draft. They took Clowney in the first round. They had the first pick in the second round. And the reason I really believe they didn't take him was because they once had his brother, David Carr. And of course, that did not really work out so well. So it was just a funny little part of that draft there in 2014. The Raiders take him a few picks later there in the second round. There are two picks in that draft. Khalil Mack in the first round, Derek Carr in the second round. They really became the cornerstones of the Raiders from those Oakland days. I mean, he was there mostly for the Oakland days. Khalil Mack was only there for the Oakland days. Derek was there for Oakland and 2 years in Las Vegas. But, you know, there were obviously some really good moments there. He had a lot of great stats. His best year definitely was that 2016 year. And again, I remember that year also like it was yesterday. Just an MVP type of year, 12-3 record as the starter. That game versus the Colts, I believe it was on a Saturday. He breaks his leg same day that I believe it was Marcus Mariota also broke, had a very serious injury as well. Two injuries on the same day to top quarterbacks in the NFL. And basically, that was the end of the Raiders that year. I mean, that was the 1 year where they really had a shot of going deep in the playoffs of the roster they had, the way Derek Carr was playing and all of it. But overall, he really was there through so many coaching changes, offensive coordinator changes. Think about it. He came in of Dennis Allen. Tony Sparano took over as interim. Then he had Jack Del Rio. Then he had John Gruden. Then he had Rick Bisaccia, of course, after Gruden was let go. And, of course, he was there for a year of Josh McDaniels. So many coaching changes, so many off-the-field things that happened as well, which he was the leader and the guy who was put on camera all the time to talk about it. And he did everything throughout all of it to make sure that the organization remained stable, was not looked at as a laughingstock. So he's going to go down as a very, very important part of the Raiders franchise history. Really never had much success in any playoffs or anything, but he did have a pretty good career there with the Raiders. He won't really be remembered much for his time with the Saints. Ends up making about $70 million from that big contract that he signed a couple of years ago. As for the news of him retiring, I mean, this is a fascinating one for so many different reasons, Ben. And first of all, just the fact that he decides to retire, he did not have to do this. And I think Saints fans have to give him some love over here because I know his relationship from just the way fans looked at him in New Orleans, they were not big fans of him. They just didn't like him as the quarterback of the team over the last couple of months. He did not have to do this. And because he is retiring from the NFL, he essentially is giving back $30 million that would have been guaranteed for this 2025 season. And in the press release, they do say he has been dealing with a shoulder injury. Again, people around the NFL have been skeptical about how serious that injury actually was. But in the press release, they say it was something very serious and that he would have needed multiple surgeries. By him retiring now, essentially he could go under his own medical timeline and decide how to proceed with this injury. If he wants to do an operation, does not want to do an operation. Obviously, football is no longer part of the future over here, so he could do whatever it is. Had he been part of the Saints organization and now retire, yes, he would have collected the $30 million in money they were supposed to make this year, but he would have had to go undergo surgery as the team tells him what to do. He would have had to be in the facility and he would have had to be throwing there and doing all the little things in order to get back, in order to get that money. If he does not follow instructions, they could have filed a grievance. It could have gotten really ugly. Over these last couple of weeks and really months, ever since this all came up over here, the Saints, the agent, team doctors, outside doctors have all been in touch over here about how to proceed. And Derek Carr decided at the end that he is going to call it a career over here and move on. They also agreed he will make the $10 million roster bonus that it was supposed to come to him this year. The Saints are not going to try to get that back. They'll let him keep it because he's retiring here. But $30 million in cash and cap now returns to the Saints salary cap, which is a pretty big deal for every team, but probably most notably to the Saints, because this is a team that is in one of the toughest salary cap situations in the NFL, because year in and year out, they keep on pushing money into the future. So that is a very, very big part of all of this. But now he is officially retiring. He keeps $10 million. He gives back $30 million. And that essentially is the end of his career here in the NFL. I would be remiss not to mention all the game winners that he had with the Raiders. I remember a very famous one in 2017 versus the Chiefs that 4 different tries from the goal line to try to score a touchdown. They finally got it in. I remember versus your Baltimore Ravens, Ben, week 1 game of Monday Night Football, had a pretty big game winner there in overtime, had multiple game winners versus the Ravens in his career, I believe. So he was a clutch quarterback as well. But overall, not much in the playoffs, but a lot of regular season statistics, and overall a decent career for a player picked in the second round.
Always will be a big Derek Carr fan. Always felt like there was a little bit more out there that we didn't get to see, but in the end of the day, retires with a nice chunk of change in his pocket, over 10 years of service in the NFL, and will forever be a quarterback that was successful in the NFL. So a lot to take from that there. The question now turns to what is going to be next for New Orleans. We obviously just had that great explainer financially what it means for New Orleans, but Kellen Moore, the new head coach there, he seemed like he was somewhat prepared for this, that there was going to be a little bit of a different situation at quarterback this year. They have 3 quarterbacks already on the roster, excluding Carr, that being the rookie Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, the quarterback that they took in the draft last year, and Jake Haener, who just makes a lot of fun pictures if you look online. Those 3 guys, obviously 2 of which are recent draft picks. Haener is Haener. It's a 3-way horse. It's a 3-way race for this. I don't imagine Aaron Rodgers is going to be in contention for coming and signing there. So if you're looking at the reality of this right now, Ari, which one do you think is going to be the week 1 starter?
I mean, if you listen to Kellen Moore, he's like, yeah, it's going to be a 3-way competition. But I would imagine Tyler Shough will have the inside track to win this job over here. I mean, this was one of their quarterbacks that they were coveting here in this draft this past last month over here in the draft. And they got him at number 40, didn't have to move up or down to make it happen. And if you listen to the way scouts around the NFL talked about this quarterback class, Tyler Shough was one of the very few quarterbacks in this draft that if you're a coach, you are comfortable putting him out there and having him run an offense. Is it going to be some superstar player off the bat? Probably not, but he was in college for a very, very long time. At week 1, he will be 26 years old. There are many funny stats out there. He was the backup to Justin Herbert. He was a teammate of Jawan Johnson, who's now his teammate in New Orleans, who just signed a 3-year extension. He just got his 2nd contract in the NFL. A lot of funny stats out there. So this is somebody who has a lot of experience. The problem in college, of course, was a lot of injuries there, obviously moved around, bounced around from a couple of colleges, and of course had his big year this past year in Louisville. The injuries, by the way, they were broken bone type of injuries. It wasn't those type of injuries where it's soft tissue stuff. So they believe that he should be okay with when it comes to the injury stuff, not necessarily an injury prone type of a quarterback. So I would imagine he has the inside track if he does what is supposed to be done over here. But I wouldn't rule out Spencer Rattler in this race either. There were some moments there last year. He was a 5th-round pick for a reason, but he also was a person who was once upon a time a top recruit in college. So I would imagine it's down to those two guys. The bigger question for me really is where this Saints organization is moving forward. Like, is it going to be finally the time where they say, you know what, let's take a bit of a step back? This Derek Carr giving back $30 million is such a blessing for them. I mean, it essentially just to give some context at it, him retiring basically locks in the contract that would have happened had they have moved on from him last year. So they got him for one more year, but essentially, had they have moved on last year, these would have been the numbers. So it is a just blessing for him to retire here and not just stay on the bench and be on IR. Getting that money back now, are they going to finally take that long awaited, let's take a step back, let's reset our salary cap situation, and then make it 2027 is our year? Or Mickey Loomis, who is still the GM there, is he going to be like, you know what? No, this is awesome. We have $30 more million to spend now. We could restructure some more contracts, bring in some more veterans, and move forward. So I'm curious to see which direction they go in. You look at this roster as a whole: Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, Nathan Shepard, Brandon Cooks, Devon Gatch. Like, all these guys are 30 plus years old. It's a very, very aging roster. There are some nice young building blocks on the offensive line, potentially with Waga and Kelvin Banks. Chris Olave is there, but we all know about the concussions over the years. A couple guys on the defensive line, Brian Breesy, who they like from a couple years ago. But overall, like, who are the cornerstone players on this roster? It just makes me question, where are they going to move forward now? Are they going to continue trying to move forward here, push it forward? If you look at free agency, they were signing guys like a Justin Reed, and they signed Brandon Cooks and all these different guys. They were being active. Like, is that what they're going to continue to be over here? Or are they going to take a bit of a step back over here and eventually realize it might be the best for the organization for the next 10 plus years to swallow the pill over here, take all the dead money we have on the books, and eventually restart fresh over here in 2027, another year from now, when eventually, Kellen Moore builds the culture and all of that. And maybe we have the quarterback on our roster, or maybe not. We get one of the quarterbacks in next year's draft or in 27 when Arch Manning is going to be probably in that draft. So, of course, the team that once had Archie Manning, maybe they get Arch. You never know. So there are a lot of questions that I have with this organization and where they are from a future standpoint, but that answer will not be given to us at any point soon of here. But I do wonder what what the front office is thinking right now, especially with this Derek Carr retirement, which again was such a big deal for them from a cap and cash standpoint.
All right, let's put you on the spot here. Where does Tyler Shough land in the hierarchy of the quarterbacks that were drafted this past year? How many starts do you think we get out of him in comparison to some of the other guys that we see? Cam Ward.
I would put him at number 2. So I think Cam Ward is going to should start the full season. He'll be the week 1 starter. I think Jackson Starr will start the year on the bench, but I think we'll see him early on. I think Tyler Shough has a chance to be the week 1 starter, and he could be the starter the entire year. Well, obviously he has to play well, but I think he has that shot over here. If you ask me right now, how many quarterbacks do we get this year starting from this rookie class? I would say we'll see, obviously, Cam. We'll see Shough. We'll see Dart eventually. We'll see one of those Cleveland quarterbacks at some point as well. Dylan Gabriel or Shador, maybe both of them. So I think we're going to see these guys eventually, just because the way the NFL works, there's going to be injuries somewhere at some point, right? I mean, Brock Purdy made it on the field in his rookie year. Skylar Thompson made it on the field in his rookie year as a 7th-round pick. It just happened. So I would imagine these guys get on the field, but I think Tyler Shough has a really, really good shot of being the week 1 starter in New Orleans, as long as he does not just completely, just do terrible in OTAs, minicamp, training camp, and all of that.
All right, Ari, not a whole lot else to talk about here today, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you this one. Is there a game or something that you're looking forward to most with the schedule release coming out here?
I mean, we have. I'm a schedule nerd. I like this stuff. I get excited about where and when all these things happen and which teams have those quirky, three straight road games or go from West Coast to East Coast back to West Coast. I actually look for all those little things in the schedule. Obviously, we're gonna have a Super Bowl rematch on the schedule this year. That is kind of exciting. What is the Week 1 game going to be for the Philadelphia Eagles? Maybe we get it here on Monday morning because the NFL always announces this stuff early. I'm going to take a peek of here at the Eagles home schedule. There are so many great options, Ben.
Mhm.
It's actually pretty incredible. So the Eagles 2025 schedule here has obviously the three NFC East teams. That's the Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders. After that, you have games with the Chicago Bears, fun team.
That's gonna be really fun. Yeah.
Detroit Lions, fun team.
Yep.
Denver Broncos, I think up and coming team, we would say. They have the Los Angeles Rams rematch of the divisional round. That is a fun one. They have the Las Vegas Raiders. Do you want a Pete Carroll debut to open up the year? That's an interesting one. There are some options here for the first game of the season here for NBC, Peacock, and Week 1 on Thursday Night Football. We also have a Friday Night Brazil game, by the way, which is going to be Chargers versus likely, it sounds like, will be the Chiefs. So there's some rumors about that. So that's a really interesting game as well over here. So we're going to have a lot of stuff. The Christmas games this year, we're back to having 3 of them. I have heard, maybe this is some breaking news, but I've heard the NFL is trying to do some tweaks to the international schedule this year and have something different when it comes to the slate. I'm not exactly
Meaning
understood
like the
what it
timing
was.
or
The timing or having multiple international games in the same week. There's something happening with the schedule this year. Just be ready for it. So
yeah.
there's things coming that people are not ready for. And once the schedule comes out officially on Wednesday, we're going to talk about all of it over here on NFL Spotlight.
Yeah, and that's why you need to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Get all the breakdowns from Ari. I should say Ari did a great explainer on Friday discussing all of the rookie contract stuff. If you guys haven't already listened to that, I would highly recommend going back. Really good explainer for what we're seeing with guys like Shamar Stewart and some of the other rookies that are negotiating their contracts right now, what they actually can negotiate, what they can't negotiate. It's all broken down in there. Highly recommend going back and listening to it. We're going to be getting back into spotlight guests here in the very near future. If you guys have anyone on the top of your mind, tweet it at Ari, tweet it at me, leave it in the comments here, all that jazz. We'll be listening.
Yep, and that will do it here for our Monday, May 12th edition of the NFL Spotlight Show. As always, rate, review, and subscribe. Leave those comments, any suggestions. It is greatly appreciated, and we will see all of you here tomorrow morning. See you then.